We have quite a number of items today, but just to re-echo that the 10th Parliament raised 114 million, and those people bought a home with the 4 acres of land. This time they came that we may know that of a settled family, the children are settled, they're able to reach that far. I see the Vice President here and the leader of government here. They wrote to me and I promised to forward this to you. They're now having a rehabilitation home which they want to construct, and they are seeking help. That help can only come from the government. Your Excellency, Vice President, they also, since they have been ambassadors of Uganda at that higher level, they're also seeking a photo moment with the head of state. Because what they did, Uganda could not afford to pay for the screen time. What is that called? For the mentions or what about Uganda and Ghetto Kids. So they just want to meet the president. And I wonder whether, Your Excellency, you would want to say something in that regard. You could help us to help the Ghetto Kids meet the President of the Republic of Uganda.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Before I welcome the Ghetto Kids back and congratulate them, let me welcome you back from Malawi and Gabon, where we are reliably informed that you marketed Uganda economically to investors in those countries. And I call upon all members of this August House, whenever they are out of the country doing work, to do what you normally do, besides the official schedule that you always have, and that is economic diplomacy. Let me welcome the Ghetto Kids back and congratulate them for the exemplary performance. You indeed raised our flag high, and you have been an inspiration to other young children across the country and indeed the continent. And as Parliament, as leaders, we pledge to give you the necessary support that you require in your journey. In light of what the Speaker said, we shall play our role very, very effectively and efficiently as messengers to relay that request to His Excellency the President to accord you an opportune moment to have an interaction with him, and indeed a photo moment. Right Honorable Speaker, having made a humble response to your request, I would also like to make a small request that I use this very opportunity to make my...
Yes, go ahead.
Mr. Mukaga is switching me off. He was my clerk when I was in the Committee of Defense and Internal Affairs.
Yeah.
And that time he was so respectful because I was the deputy chair of the committee. The Honorable Speaker, I was requesting that you allow me to make my short intervention towards the State of the Nation address. The Speaker has allowed. Thank you very much. I congratulate His Excellency the President on his successful presentation of the State of the Nation address to the 12th Parliament. And my intervention goes as follows. I welcome and support entirely his message to all the people of Uganda that in this term of office, which we have commenced very well together. It is going to be a Kisanja, no more sleep and no more corruption. And this statement means a lot to all of us because the fight against corruption deserves and requires collective responsibility, including a responsibility of the leader of the opposition in parliament and all the members of the opposition. The Honorable Muiru is whispering to the leader of the opposition that all the accountability committees in parliament are actually chaired by members of parliament who are in opposition. So this Kisanja, no sleep and no corruption, should be a welcome slogan to all of us as members of parliament, and we should embrace it and play our roles and responsibilities in light of that slogan. Secondly, I welcome His Excellency the President's message again to all of us, the leaders and all the people of Uganda, that now is the time for us to work together to eliminate subsistence farming. Because a range of wealth creation programs and livelihood programs have been initiated by government, and we are here as vehicles of those messages to the masses so that those programs produce results. I indeed support His Excellency the President that the leaders must play a very key role of diagnosing the problems of the people so that proper responses are given to the people, and most important, that we should reach out to the people with clear messages, either through radios, TVs, etc. And that's why I thank you, Mr. Speaker, for empowering us as members of parliament to do our oversight role. I read from a very clear source that the facilitation to do that role has now been budget has been reframed for oversight. I thought members of parliament would be thankful to the Speaker for returning that budget for us to do our oversight role. Because if we don't do that, then we cannot know exactly what is on the ground in light of the resources that we are always allocating in this parliament. So thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and I encourage all members of parliament to always move with the committees whenever we are called upon to go to the field to check on the projects of government. His Excellency the President, in his State of the Nation address, gave us his example of how we used to move on foot, sometimes using a bicycle, to reach out to the rural people, to change their mindset, to abandon subsistence agriculture and embrace commercial agriculture. And he said, as we speak now, there are 115 milk coolers in Nyabushoshi. Those milk coolers were attracted there because the milk was available. The cattle keepers had listened to his message. We should be deliberate, intentional in our messages to the people, and most importantly, Mr. Speaker, we should also be examples. When we tell people to do commercial agriculture, all of us should be exemplary in light of that point of being commercial farmers. Finally, Mr. Speaker, His Excellency the President, in his State of the Nation address, also highlighted that in Uganda now there is pressure on land, and therefore the people should embrace the 4-acre model and acquire high-value enterprises so that they can optimally use the available land that they have. But most important, that there should be no land fragmentation. Because, for instance, Mr. Speaker, I don't know how many sons your father has. Africa, Uganda is a patriarchal society. When a father has 3 sons, and he has like 10 acres of land, they split that 10 acres into 3 sons. And when the 3 sons also produce, they split those acres of land into their sons. Well, I want to talk about sons first for today. I will come back and talk about daughters another day. But even when you talk about sons alone, you can see clearly that there's a problem. So we need to embrace the message of His Excellency the President, go out to our people and encourage them to avoid land fragmentation, but instead adopt modern ways of using that land, and then they split the money which comes from the land. Issues of livelihoods, issues of household income are issues to do with the destiny of our people. There are issues to do with stability of families. There are issues to do with what is this? Food security, and so on and so forth. So on that first point of His Excellency the President, Mr. Speaker, I call upon all members of Parliament to participate and do due diligence on their part. There are a range of development programs which His Excellency the President talked about that are also a prerequisite to growth of economy and development. One of them is peace. I am speaking when one of the members of Parliament was just talking about being abducted at one time. Maybe someone at one time was an IDP, another one may have been a refugee. We all know that without peace, it is not possible to do any development. So I would like to applaud His Excellency the President, who is the Commander-in-Chief, and all the UPDF and other security agencies for inculcating peace and security in our country. Peace which has enabled all the people of Uganda to participate in their productive activities. I thought that we would be very thankful for this, especially for me who has ever been internally displaced. Mr. Speaker, I've ever been internally displaced 3 times, to the extent of being even an internally displaced person in a seminary. You know how a seminary is not supposed to entertain any other person apart from seminarians. But at one point, I was a displaced person in Madera Seminary in Soroti. Fortunately, my uncle, the late Reverend Father Francis Asete, was a rector. And I was again a displaced person in another parish at one time, and another displaced person in Ngora Township. There are people who come from Ngora here. I was also displaced at one time in Ngora. So the issue of peace and security has a very strong connotation to the development process of any economy. And I would like again to repeat that I would like to applaud His Excellency General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, the Commander-in-Chief and President, for the sustainable peace and security that we are now enjoying in the country. And the Honorable MP from Amuru is very happy. He's shaking his head and he's smiling. Infrastructure is one of the areas where His Excellency the President also alluded to as one of the areas which is a priority as an enabler of economic growth. And I would like all of us to always support the minister when he comes here, ministers when they come here to discuss with us, especially the finances concerning the infrastructure. And the regional cooperation is the last one, Mr. Speaker, I will talk about. There are many, I'll talk about the last one as regional cooperation. As access to market in the East African community, access to market in the African Union, because we cannot produce and have market for all our products within our country. So I thank His Excellency the President for being a chief diplomat in our country, to the extent that as we speak, he's the chairperson of the East African community. He's also the chairperson of the African Peer Review Commission at the African Union. He's the chairperson of G77 and China. He's the chairperson of COMESA. He's the chairperson of NAM, and a very valid member of COMESA. Mr. Speaker, this means a lot to the people of Uganda. It means that the market of anything that you are planning to produce, any service that you are planning to offer, is available within Uganda, but also in the region, continentally and beyond. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, I thank His Excellency the President for a well thought out and articulated State of the Nation address, which also has now clearly prescribed Uganda as belonging to the lower middle income status, with our GDP of 69.3 billion US dollars now. And we are expected to work towards 500 billion US dollars in the near future. So, honorable members of parliament, for us to get to the 500 billion US dollars, we need to do collective effort. Mr. Speaker, there is always a presentation that is made by the leader of opposition after the presentation, after the Prime Minister moves the motion on the State of the Nation address. I would like to say a few points on the presentation of the leader of the opposition. First and foremost, many of the issues that he raises are taken care of in the President's State of the Nation address. I would like to repeat that the leader of opposition, together with members of the opposition, have a role and responsibility to participate in the fight against corruption, and also issues to do with human rights, freedoms, and justice, which was part of his points. They have a responsibility to work with the key leaders this side of security and defense to ensure that our country is safe and secure, but also ensure that justice is delivered to those that deserve justice. On human rights, it is the same issue. On health and education, the leader of opposition raises key pertinent issues on gray areas, but he falls short of raising strong areas where government is doing perfectly very well, including the fight against epidemics. The Minister of Health has just defeated Ebola. We defeated COVID. And when you compare the way we defeated COVID with other countries, we stand out so clearly. So the message here is that we should work as a team, the leader of opposition, together with the government, to ensure that we push the programs of government to the local people, as the President raises the issue that politics, leadership is about serving the masses. I thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity, and I congratulate His Excellency once again for a very well articulated and nice State of the Nation address.
Thank you very much. There's only one Vice President in Uganda, and we are happy to have you here. We know how committed. This is the only time, sitting in this chair, you have to, the Vice President has to salute me. That is quite a... I think